All right, we're back with Randy McKinnis from Remax Real Estate. Hey, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Thank you.
Glad you're here this morning.
Yeah, I'm really glad I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is our first time in the studio. Yeah, I don't think you thought you knew what you were getting yourself into.
No, I didn't. Last time I was in a little room off to the side over there. It was much different.
Well, and we did that. We initially did it. We started the show during COVID, and so we did that during COVID. And then the production of having everybody in their own little rooms is infinitely easier than this monstrosity.
I believe that.
Yeah, and so then we stayed there until we could figure out how to navigate this in the studio. So, but yeah, glad you're here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad to be here too.
And this is a lot more intuitive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
It's less artificial.
Nice. It's nice to talk to somebody that's actually there that you're talking to.
Yeah. Well,
it's
good.
a whole different feel. I still, my sports show, I've never had. I mean, I've done like 2 episodes ever, which was Wrestling Wednesdays.
Yeah.
In studio.
Right.
Everything else, all just like we did before.
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about sports real quick. Yeah. The LeGrand cross country team's coach works in my office.
Oh, I know.
And I guess they're doing really well too.
Yeah.
They are. The girls are really good. I interviewed all the seniors. She was here.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the seniors came in and we spent 15 minutes on each kid. I've interviewed every single LeGrand High School senior athlete in the fall.
That's great.
In the last 2.5 weeks.
Yeah. How is that 40? What'd you
49.
say? 49.
49 kids.
I've released 20 of them so far.
Yeah.
I start volleyball today. Football is done.
Right.
Football had 21 seniors.
Right.
Wow.
But them being in a box in another room greatly simplifies.
Oh, it's so much easier.
Yeah, because
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because yes, so
I can run through like 3 or 4 of them at a time.
Right. Yeah. So Randy had to be here at 7:40 this morning, and now he's just now on the show. And so it's just to do something like this is just a huge amount of.
That's okay. There were contractors at my house at 7 o'clock banging on the outside of my house. It was fine for me.
So you were going to leave anyhow?
I was leaving anyway.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Well, and you used to be a contractor, did you? Or
No, my son is.
Okay.
Yeah, our youngest son works for Grant Construction.
Okay.
So he does.
Yeah.
For Keener.
Yeah.
Nice. Good.
But you were a builder, though. I mean,
I build stuff. I
Yeah.
have a shop that I build stuff in. I still have all my fingers and so,
Yeah.
But no, I'm not a builder.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
No.
That's always good.
I have no idea what I'm doing. That's what those guys are for.
Well, so how's the housing market? Tell us what's going on.
Well, you know what? The housing market is really different than it was when I was here before.
Right.
I was here almost exactly a year ago. And when we were talking then, and the market was just crazy. Nobody really knew what to expect. It was the prices were going up so fast you couldn't keep up with it. I looked back and we get these little things that are market reports, so I save those. And I looked back to the one in September a year ago, and the escalation rate, the pricing. So what they do is they give you a 12-month period, and then they compare it with the current 12-month period. So last year in 21, this year in 22 kind of thing. And so last year, that comparison showed a 30% rise in pricing.
Wow.
Yeah. And then it sort of just kind of stayed at 25% for a long time. And then we kind of got into the spring and you could sort of feel it coming a little bit, but then I looked back on those reports again. So May was 15%. June was 11%.
And how is that percentage measured? What does that percentage mean?
It's the average sale price.
Okay.
So you take the average sale price from the 12-month period ending in May of 21.
Okay.
And you compare that with the 12-month period ending in May of 22.
And so then
it's the average price of all the things that have sold and closed during that period.
And it's going down. The price is going down. So
well, the level of increase is going down.
Okay. got
So
it.
it was at 25%. So in May it was 15% more than last year.
Okay.
June it was 10% more than last year,
Oh, got it. Okay. Got it.
and like that.
Right. Okay.
So the last one that came out was for August, and it was 3%. So it's almost kind of gradually worked itself down to where everything is the same as it was 12 months ago in terms of pricing.
So it's not on
escalating
this. Yeah.
anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of interesting. I know lots of people were concerned that the market would just have a complete meltdown and would crash, and they're all afraid of that. I think people see that in the stock market sometimes right now.
Right.
But we're not seeing that at all. I think what we're really doing is gradually moving back to what's more of a normal market.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what does that mean for home buyers, home sellers?
I think it will put buyers back into the market that gave up, honestly.
They couldn't afford it.
They couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's really frustrating. You're out there trying to find a house. You're a young buyer, so you can't really afford a lot of money. So there's not very many houses on the market.
Mhm.
And every time you put in an offer, there are 7 others. And
How frustrating would that be?
Yeah, pretty soon you just say, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Right.
And so that competitive kind of fire in the market is kind of going away for the most part. So you're seeing people coming back that got frustrated before. So there's a really good opportunity for that. Yeah. The interest rates have gone up a little bit, but not frighteningly so.
And so then for buyers, they might have a chance of getting, and then you're right. It's so frustrating because to prepare yourself to buy a house can be a multi-year thing. You can finally get to the point where it's like, okay, let's be homeowners and and then to have it be so competitive that you can't compete. It's got to be terribly frustrating.
Yeah, I think it is. And in spite of the fact that it's such a financial choice, it's hugely emotional for people.
Sure.
So, yeah. So, after a while, you just throw your hands up and you say, you know what, I'll just keep paying that rent for a while.
Right.
But I think now we're seeing some opportunity for people to change that again. And they're paying a little more in interest. But, for us that's been around a while, 5.5% is still not bad. You see a whole kind of a generation of people that have never seen things above 4. Right. So it kind of scared them a little bit, right. But it's still, I think it's putting them back in the market, so sellers are not going to see that crazy kind of market. So they have to be careful about pricing now. They have to pay more attention to making sure that they don't just throw a number out there and see how many people bid on it. Right. It's not that kind of market anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So total switch in topic. So the city is considering, I don't know if you've been following that, city has been considering opening a tract of land or actually running sewer and water to a particular tract of land to open up another housing development for LeGrand. Have you been following that conversation?
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And whether it be that track or not, do you have an opinion on how that might help the housing market? If there was more available space to build on, how that might help down the road?
It would. Because one of the things that keeps this market probably from completely falling apart is the fact that there's still demand there. You've got good demand and you've got low inventory still. Mm-hmm. So there's the bottom line is there's not enough houses for the people that want to buy them. So opening up some area that would create some new housing opportunity, I think it would really help. Yeah. And I noticed that they're considering some kind of a moratorium on short-term rentals.
Right.
You heard about that, right? So I think that is it will kind of shut off the new permits for being Airbnb.
Right.
And by doing that, what it will do is allow more rentals to be on the market for people and maybe not have such high rents.
Right.
So maybe that will help too.
So yeah, and to explain a little bit more of that to both of those topics. So one is the tract of land that they're considering opening is kind of across from the Pepsi. No, it's near the Pepsi plant, kind of across that area, across from Bi-Mart, their Bi-Mart parking lot on the other side of between Highway 30 and the railroad track. There's a big area there, and that it's actually open for building now. The problem is there is no utilities, sewer and water is not to that, and so then for any developer to develop that area, they have to pay that cost up front, which is
it's enormous.
with like I think it's $1.5 million or something like that. It's more than what a developer would want to pay to develop that particular land. So that's one thing. The other thing is so what's happening is there are new rentals that are becoming available, and the owners of those rentals are choosing to turn them into Airbnbs rather than have them available on the rental market here. So then some of those new properties or properties in general that would be available to help people find a place to rent, and there's just a huge shortage of rentals that potentially is being taken up by Airbnbs, which you can't blame the owner for that.
No,
because it's probably it's more profitable for them.
I think it's more profitable, and there's a huge amount of landlord-tenant laws that have come into play in the last few years that are pretty prohibitive for owners, I think.
Right.
So for them, it makes more sense to just do an Airbnb and not have to deal with all that stuff.
Right. And I mean, I know this because my father-in-law he owns several rentals, and the laws in Oregon they're heavily in favor of the rentee, not the person who owns the property. And so like evicting someone who doesn't pay their rent, or I mean, the burden is pretty heavy for the landlord.
Yeah, the interesting part of that is that I think they built all those rules to actually help renters.
Right.
And it's had the opposite effect.
Right, because
They're
have
trying
people
to protect them, but really what's happening, it's making it so difficult for the landowners that they just choose not to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then the moratorium that the city is considering passing, and I'm trying to remember, I don't know if they passed it, or I think that at the next city council meeting would be when they would pass it, would be just saying, hey, we're going to put a hold on Airbnb applications for a period of time.
That's what I understand.
Until we get some city ordinances written about that to be able to control that a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
I think so. Yeah. LeGrand's been pretty good about coming up with some interesting ideas. I think Mike Boquist does a great job in the planning department there.
Yeah.
They a couple of years ago implemented what they call cottage homes. I don't know if you've heard anything about that, but now you can build a little house in your backyard. It's kind of like a little, like a little grandma house back there, but it gives lots of people opportunity to rent small places in what used to be non-buildable properties.
Or to put mother-in-law or father-in-law whose husband died. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've heard of a lot of people that have done that. Like they just build that, the cottage law place in the back. Then you don't have grandma living in the house, and she doesn't have to find a place to rent. You got it right there.
Right. And it's infilling a lot because LeGrand has big lots in general.
Really big.
People don't seem to think that in LeGrand, but if you go somewhere else, you really notice it. And so these larger lots, they're able to add more housing, so to speak. And so it kind of fills in some of the blank space.
And
so it's kind of a cool idea, I think.
Yeah, right. and Gus Chachas has done that with some of the veteran housing. Is that, I mean,
same idea. I think he's using that same rule to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many of them he built down there, but what a great thing for vets.
No, and those there's he's building some up by the high school right now, and then there's some down by Pioneer Riverside Park. There's a group of homes there, and I walked into one of those. They're very cool. I mean, they're probably 800 square feet.
Yeah.
You know, they're not very big, but still, I mean, it's like a studio apartment almost. But I mean, it's your own place.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, he's really creative
Yeah.
about the things that he does, and
Yeah.
that was one of them that I think has worked out really well. Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, so back to Remax and specific real estate. So I guess what if you had a pitch to buyers, what would it be? What would you tell them?
Yeah, right now.
Right now,
This market.
Yeah.
go see the lender that you talked to before you quit. Go see them, find out where you stand, and then don't be afraid to start shopping again, because I think we're getting out of the summer season into the fall. So the inventory should actually start to grow a little bit. It's been frustrating, but don't give up. Now's the time to come back. So if I was going to tell a buyer anything, that's what I'd probably tell them right now. Go see your real estate person so that they can help you get lined up with what you're looking for. And it's not as crazy as it used to be.
Jump back in the game.
You're back in the game.
Back in the
Yeah,
game.
you're back in the game. And it will be a lot more fun than it was the first time around.
It won't be like Appalachian State playing Georgia.
No. Right. I don't know. App State's pretty good.
Yeah,
so.
I said that because do you know how much money they got for that, right?
Yeah.
Like 1.25 million to go.
And they won.
Yeah, they won. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
All righty. Well,
So
thank-
yeah, tell them to come and see us.
All righty. And you guys tell us one more time where you are.
We're at 1214 and a half Adams Avenue. We are right next to Bella, the kitchen store, and right next to us on the other side's a lender if you need to stop in and see her.
Good.
They got a bunch of great people that work there too.
They do.
Yeah,
We do, yeah.
really. I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
Yeah, I love that little group. We've had that same staff for a long time, and
Good people.
I think the world of them.
But you are definitely in the minority.
I am definitely.
You're the only dude.
Are you the
I sit in the back and stay quiet.
Smart idea.
Yeah. Wisdom
You should write a book
prevails.
about that.
Yeah.
In the back and quiet.
Yeah.
By Randy McKinnis.
All right. Well, thanks, Randy, for being on with us this morning. Really
Appreciate
appreciate
you.
it. Yep.
You bet. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate you having me in.
We'll be right back.